So, hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra Kaye, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Sadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. He wasn't here last Sunday. Thought maybe he was outgrowing some hair, but as you can see, he is still bald. So, anyway, this is our live show, and did I freeze up, Donovan? Okay, now I'm moving now. I don't know what it is going on here. It's the 4th of July. For those of y'all who celebrated, I guess happy 4th. I personally do not celebrate it, and Donovan does not celebrate it either. But anyway, if you do, you do. But it's thunder and lightning here in Houston. So I don't know how these backyard barbecues are gonna work out. But again, I'm freezing a little bit, but y'all can hear me. I'll catch up. So anyway, we are going to talk about the discourse that is going on now, even more so, right? Within the Asian and Black community between each other, right? Because of course, you guys know what happened with affirmative action last week, and it is said that as a group of Asian students that took it to the United States Supreme Court to get it gutted in regards to education. And it's been a big giant battle ever since then. So I'll get into that a little bit. Donovan, what say you?
All right, welcome again. Happy 4th to everybody. Do us a favor as you're coming into the system. Go ahead and hit that like button. It's absolutely free. And it is the 4th of July. So, why not hit that button and get the sparks and everything flying and going. If you look at our scrolling banner at the bottom there, you will see that there's all kinds of ways to donate to the channel. It does take time, effort to put a show together and get all this. We would greatly appreciate it, and that'll help Demetra continue to put up great content as we go through this thing, as we know as life. This is going to be a good topic. I think it's a very good topic for the simple fact that you guys do know that I was raised in Japan. I have a lot of Asian friends, and I am one of the main ones that talk about, especially to my Asian friends, their silence when a Black man is murdered, their silence when things happen in the Black community, or things that we need, like as in the fight for reparations, and things that we need. Because if you really, let's put it, be factual. We opened the door for all of these groups to come here. And then now that they are in a position so-called better than us, or in a better position than we are, they take the ladder and they move it up so that they can't help anybody else behind. So this is a pretty good topic for me as well. I do know what I'm talking about in regards to that culture and understanding why they feel the way that they do.
All right. So I should also say, if you guys haven't figured it out, we are not live. We will not be back live because Donovan does have something to do. And we figure a lot of y'all probably will be doing something. So we'll be back tomorrow, Wealth Wednesdays with Walter, and we will be live then. So, all right, just to give you a little bit of background. Of course, you guys know last week, the United States Supreme Court gutted affirmative action in regards to the educational proponent of it, basically saying that colleges and universities can no longer admit people in on the basis of race, right? Affirmative action was created to give, as they said, minorities, right? We have to be careful with that word, but minorities an opportunity that they wouldn't ordinarily have to partake in something, whether it's an education at a specific university, or anywhere, rather, I guess, or on the job. And there's some other things within the affirmative action. And so, again, a group of agents that are go by Students for Fair Admissions versus President and Fellows of Harvard colleges. They are the ones that mounted the lawsuit. It was last year. And then of this year, January, the Supreme Court decided to hear the case. Now, it was comprised of Asian students who basically said we often are discriminated against due to us being smarter, right? Or scoring higher on, the test, SAT tests and different things. And so I guess they're saying we are being disqualified to allow people who do not really deserve their, like they're saying, I'm not saying this, but they're saying Black people, right? Because they say we don't score as high as they do, but because we are minorities, and I'm using that word minorities, that's why we are getting in to these colleges over them. So they said it's not fair, and bam, that component rather of affirmative action is no longer. Now, from that, there's been a lot of fallout, a lot of backlash. And as I talked about last Sunday, a lot in the Asian community saying, well, now we're going to be scapegoated for that portion of it being gone. But it's like, well, how you scapegoated if it was y'all peoples, and it was from what I understand, Chinese students. Y'all went to the Supreme Court and asked for that to be done away with. So I don't know how you're being scapegoated. But of course, now a lot of Black people are mad, saying, well, now that harms Black people. Of course, the justices in the United States Supreme Court, including that of Clarence Thomas, who was a Black man and who did benefit from the affirmative action law. He was one of the leaders there on the GOP side, or the Republicans striking it down, right? A conservative judge. It is stacked 6-3, 6 conservatives and 3 liberal judges. So the 3 liberal judges are just kind of hanging out at this point. So yes, there's been a lot of conversation. And so, of course, if you go on Twitter, you see a lot of people arguing over this, that, and the other. I was on Twitter earlier today, and I saw quite a few people retweet this. But I'm going to give, before I show you the tweet, I'm going to give you a little backgrounder. So this is the account that it came from. Now, I don't know if this is a young guy, older guy. The picture there is an older person, so I don't know if that's them or not. But they go by, I am Douglas Kim, right? And their moniker is Kim Chill 7 song, whatever that is. All right. And so this, in his thing, he says, Westerners talk a lot while Asians just get things done. The Westerners, left/liberal, is the primary enemy of Marxism, Leninism. Okay. Now I want y'all to also notice that where it says his location is, he ain't in China or Korea or wherever he identifies as. He's in good old sunny Los Angeles, California. So it's like, y'all get things done. Why you ain't getting them done where you from? Why you getting them done from Los Angeles? I just thought y'all would find that interesting. Okay, but let's get to the tweet that has everybody kind of up in arms. He says, Asians and other immigrants don't owe Black people ish. Okay, now he tweeted that a couple of days ago. And of course, I'd be here forever trying to show y'all all the responses. Of course, y'all know a lot of Black people chimed in saying, we never said y'all owed us anything. In fact, it's been the other way around. You guys have benefited from us and, all that other stuff. But as I got to scrolling through some of his tweets and things, I kind of got suspicious. I'm like, okay, for me, I'm like, is this really an Asian? Because he tweeted this in addition to a whole host of other stuff that I saw that I didn't bring up. But, did I not bring it up? Let's see. Okay, there it is. So he says, Black liberals still Black liberals still support Obama after Flint. Y'all know what happened with Flint with the water. Ferguson, y'all know what happened with Mike Brown, bailing out Wall Street, annihilating Pakistani children, says assassinating Gaddafi, preventing NBA boycott during George Floyd, running with and endorsing the architect of the 1994 crime bill. And so when I saw that, I said, who is this really? Because the stuff that he's saying right here is like, well, how can you really argue with that? You know what I mean? Because he's right. Whoever's behind this profile, they are right. And if you go in the profile and you look at some of his other responses, you're like, nah, I don't know if this is necessarily an Asian. I think it's probably somebody Black, right? But nevertheless, we're going to go on with it, okay? We're going to pretend, go along that it's an Asian.
I think it's Maxine Waters.
Nah, she ain't that. Nah, this person here is extremely woke. And I mean in the true sense of the word, right? Because you cannot argue with those things. And so, Donovan, I'm going to give it to you and then we can have a conversation. But I just wanted y'all to see that. And I want to kind of plant that in your head. Like, okay, who are we dealing with really? And I also want y'all, because I know it probably will get a little bit crunk in the comment section. Let's be logical and not emotional, because I saw a lot of people online in regards to this tweet here acting extremely emotional, right? But we need to start being logical. God, it's gotten dark around here. All right, go ahead. Take it away.
That's funny. That is super funny. Yeah, I don't agree with a lot of stuff that he says. And, again, a lot of people hide their profile because they don't want the flashback that comes with that. But back to the Asian Chinese guy that sued discrimination. Now, notice white supremacy does use other tools to do their dirty work, right? So, arbitrarily or not, if he felt discriminated or not, it was a tool used to get rid of affirmative action. Now that the affirmative action in school has been broken up, where do you think the next step in affirmative action is going to be? In jobs and everything else, because that is now set a precedence. Now, isn't it funny that the civil rights people who fought for affirmative action and all it's going to change all these things are now dismantling it? Now, to some people, I say it's not a bad thing. That's my personal opinion. I think it was BS because we didn't benefit from it anyway. So when Black people get upset and emotional, look at the Democrats. They're like, oh, look at it. Look what they just did. Y'all got to come vote for us. It's a tool. Now, for all you Negroes out there, can I say Negroes on thing? Well, anyway, for all you Black folks out there who are getting upset that affirmative action has been taken away, ask yourself, have you ever benefited from affirmative action yourself? Most likely not. And the bottom line is the biggest group of people who benefit from affirmative action is white women. We all know that, right? But here's the little thing about the Asian guy a lot of people might not know. This guy scored a perfect score on either the entrance exam or the SAT. So he's saying, hey, I scored a perfect score. Why am I in this school? But what they're not telling you.
Well, it wasn't exactly perfect. It was a 1590, but it was close.
Well, it was close, whatever, the highest one out there, whatever. But here's the thing, what they're not telling you. The statistical numbers of Asians enrolled in Harvard combined, because you got different types of Asians, like you got different types of Black people, but the different Asians is higher than Black and brown people combined. How come they're not telling you that? Maybe he didn't get in because his scores were not good enough to get in. You can't, you can only have so many seats in a college. So unfortunately, it is what it is. And then, I like what you said in regards to why aren't they getting it over there? Asians are the most financially wealthy group in the United States. Why aren't they building their own higher institutions of learning that they can get into and do their own thing? It's bad enough they build their own neighborhoods and cities. So why aren't they building their own schools? So, my whole thing about this thing is this is just another excuse to take away a tool that is probably beneficial to people that need it. Now, I've never experienced affirmative action in the aspect because I come from a military background, but I will tell you, I got my commission just based on the fact that they needed Black faces in higher places, which is a form of affirmative action. So there's nothing wrong with doing what you got to do. But my thing is this for you guys. The majority of you guys that are getting upset and getting your panties in a bunch and your drawers in a bunch, how many of you guys have actually gotten a job based on affirmative action? I would say most of you don't. So why are you getting upset? You haven't benefited from it. Our community hasn't benefited from it. And this affirmative action has been in place for over 60 years. So again, my Asian friends that sit there and they see what's going on, notice that this thing just went down and they don't want the blowback, but they don't. But remember when they announced this, I sent you the email saying how Asians here in California were celebrating. They had no problem when it was going in their benefit, because you got to remember, Asians are secondary white people. They get the status of secondary white people. And it's unfortunate, but I just don't see the benefit of affirmative action if it stays or goes. Most of us don't benefit from it anyway. So it is what it is.
Well, it's kind of a y'all hear that? There's all that thunder and lightning up there is crazy. It's kind of a double-edged sword, if you ask me, because Black people have benefited from affirmative action because a lot of jobs they have to fill quotas, right? And a lot of that is, a racial quota, if you will. We have to have a certain amount of Blacks, or a certain blah, 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 blah. So a lot of, and I would say us, because I would imagine there's some jobs that I've gotten because I was Black, right? Well, we need one more Negress up in here. So, I can't confirm that, but I would just only imagine, right? So that does hurt, because when it does come to the job portion of it, where they say, well, you can't get hired now because you're black or whatever, that is going to harm us. But the other part of that sword is, we've been told for years, do for self. Up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. It has been prophesied over and over and over and over again. Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said there is going to come a time where we're not going to have a choice. And now we are seeing we are there. We are at the point to where we don't have a choice as Black people other than to depend on ourselves to do for self. Now we know that, and I talked about this on Sunday. As far as us as Black people, we are easy target. Everybody can gun for us and hit, right? Because we are too busy arguing over this, arguing over that. We arguing with that, the Africans and the Jamaicans and the this and the Black woman and the Black man, while everybody else is organized. Now, I often talk about this book. You can find it on YouTube, at least I think it's still there, called The Hidden Secrets of Oriental Wealth. Somebody turned me on to the book, and I've been telling y'all to read it forever. And in that book, he is talking to Black people. He said, hey, y'all say we get special things and we're doing better because the government likes us more, blah blah blah. He says that's not true. We have the same enemy, and he was giving us the game. He said this is what we do, and he was talking about group economics. He was talking about the things that they do to organize. Now, how is it? I ask you. This is kind of a story kind of David and Goliath. You have the Asians that are what 8-9% of the population. Black people being about 14, give or take. They are the smaller group of people, although they are mightier as far as economically, but they organized on us, and they are starting to remove the little safety nets that we've been privy to, affirmative action and a whole host of other things. That the other stuff is coming to. Don't get it twisted. But the other thing is, we don't vote responsibly. And it just is a lot of things that we just don't do. And we are, like I always tell y'all this, I'm not mad at the Asian community. I'm not mad at the Hispanic community. I'm not mad at any of them, because they are using what we're giving them, and we are giving them that. Now, with this particular tweet where he says, we don't owe y'all nothing. See, to me, that to me is like, y'all ever played that game back in the day where somebody was instigating a fight and they said, oh, they talked about your mama, what you gonna do? Or you remember when they put the stick on your shoulder, knock the stick off his shoulder, and then we gonna get it popping, right? To me, the Asian community has put the stick on Black people's shoulder and said, now we gonna hit it off. What you gonna do? We gonna knock the stick off. What you gonna do? Y'all gonna stay up out of our stores? Y'all gonna stop eating these crab boils? Y'all gonna stop going into our hair shops, our nail salons, and that? Are y'all gonna stop doing any of that? That's what I hear. And you know what else I hear? Hell no. All we want to do is sit up and complain and the Asian community is in part wealthy due to Black dollars. But we don't have the sense. God gave a cricket and say, enough. I know how to boil crab legs at the house. I know how to do my own nails at the house, or go find somebody Black that's doing it. But we are, I'm trying to be nice. As the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we are the walking dead. We would rather complain about everything and not actually do anything about it. And so they're saying, we don't owe y'all nothing, as they are collecting our Black dollars hand over fist. So they don't put the stick on our shoulder and they knocked it off. What are we going to do about it?
Okay. And then, going back to the college admissions things, why didn't the Asians fight legacy admissions? Why didn't they fight that? That is one of the biggest things that let the white folks in, and and into Harvard. How come they didn't go after legacy admissions? They should do away with that. That would have gave a guy the spot, because legacy admissions isn't based on academic. Well, it is to a point, but you know what I mean. It isn't really based on competing. Your legacy.
You got to ask yourself: are legacy attendees, if you will, or babies, if you will, are they soft targets? They're not soft targets. We were the soft target. Unfortunately for the Asian community now, that has opened up a can of worms because now Black people are saying, okay, well, if y'all could take yourself to the Supreme Court, then we're going to the Supreme Court too. And we're telling them to get rid of the whole legacy admission. That's letting I hate that with a passion. That you guys are allowing people in on based on economic status, so that needs to be struck down as well. 75% of white I say white legacy attendees or whatever they call them that are there, they say they wouldn't be there if it was not for Mummy and Nutty having some money.
Because if it came down to actually competing and taking a test and stuff, those people they wouldn't. If it was based on academic merit, a lot of those legacy people would not even go. Donald Trump himself went to the University of Pennsylvania, and his family had money. So right. so that goes to tell you a lot there. And and it's unfortunate that we don't pay attention to what is going on until after the fact. This case is a couple of years old. It ain't like this case happened, 30 days ago, and they were like, okay, here it is, and we're ruling on it. This case has been going through the courts for quite a significant amount of time. And for us now, and this is what the white man knows, this is what the Asian knows, this is what the Hispanics knows, we are emotional, reactive people. But but then there's a few of us like you, me, Brother Phil, and all of us that are paying attention, and we see these things that are coming down the pipe. And we say, because it's like they used to say, oh, well, that will never happen. Voting rights will never go away. Well, if voting rights will never go away, then why do they have to, for Black people, renew it every 25 years? And now it's a big issue to doing that. See what I'm saying? Where we are so delusional in our thought that when it does happen, just like I say about city council meetings, Demetra, when do Black people show up at city council meetings? When it's all done. It's been voted on. It's been said. Next thing you know, you got this liquor store right on the corner of your house, near your house, and now you're upset. But it takes at least a year out planning, debating, public comments, meetings before it's even approved. And then here we show up. So, it's kind of crazy. And I want to say this. I know it's kind of off topic a little bit. I predict the next election in Chicago, there will be a Hispanic mayor. There will be a Hispanic mayor in the next election of Chicago. You better believe that. But like you said, though, economic dollars is our voice. We got to stop. We got to show them since they don't owe us nothing. We don't owe them our business. We don't owe them anything. But the question is, can we stay our butts out of those restaurants? Can we stay our butts out of those shops? Can we do those things? I mean, have you ever? I saw Phil talking about this too, and it kind of hit me. When you go to a Chinese restaurant, have you ever? And he's right. Why would they pile your bowl up with all of that food for $8? And you're thinking you're getting a good deal. What is in that food that they're piling it up? And I'm not trying to stereotype or anything like that, but I'm just saying that they can just give you that amount of food for $8, but yet they don't owe us nothing and this, that, and this is how they treat us. Our economic dollars is our voice.
But we've been talking about this for a very long time, and it's not even just the Asian community that we give our money to, it's everybody else. We know that we make about it says almost $2 trillion now in the Black community, but we still give 97% of that away. And then we want to sit on the internet and cry and complain about what the Asians did to us per se. Well, you got to get some context. Affirmative action law was never really for us. When you call, as Dr. Claude Anderson say, you call yourself a minority, that includes everybody else. And we know now that the white woman was the biggest benefactor, even though a white woman in 2016, she tried to get it overturned. And they've been trying to get this overturned for 40 years. And then here comes the Asian community. It was like, hold my beer. We'll do it. But again, as I said Sunday, they found a loophole in the Civil Rights Act of 1964 where it says that if a college or university is getting federal dollars, they cannot discriminate. And they said, well, okay, that counts. We are being discriminated against because we have to score a certain type of way or whatever, or be due to our scores. We cannot get in over somebody else who scores less. So that's a form of discrimination. And so they just use what our ancestors fought very hard to, to get this non-discrimination, but they never said, all right, Lyndon B. Johnson, before you sign this, does that just mean Black people? Or does that include everybody else that's considered a minority? So if they would have got that clarification, then of course he would have said, well, I got Martin Luther King sitting here right here behind me. So that was the illusion that it was just for y'all, but I can't really say that it's just for y'all, right? So they were just actually able to use what we thought was to benefit us, but civil rights, as Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, is a false idea because you got to be seen as a human first. They don't see Black people as humans, but we here running around talking about, I got civil rights. And so I do think that the Asians stepped in it. And I mean by this, because I also know that white people, especially Republicans, they wanted to get rid of affirmative action. Hell, they want to get rid of anything that they think benefits Black people. So they were sitting up there eating their popcorn, watching the Asians, gun for Black people, if you will. And then Black people are now saying, well, hold my goddamn beer, okay? Y'all white people that's getting up into these colleges under these legacy admissions, that's a form of discrimination too, and that needs to be done away with. So now it's like, oh, because a lot of those legislators and senators, all those people, that a lot of their children get in those big fancy colleges under the legacy, thing or whatever. They get in too, because a lot of their kids is dumber than a box of rocks, and they wouldn't be able to get in on their own merit. But so now it's getting ugly, but we know that the Supreme Court is stacked with conservatives. So somebody Black may take that to them, and they'll say, well, I don't see the problem. So
it's mostly white people, so there's no problem. Most Black people don't go to those institutions anyway. Matter of fact, it's fair and equal because you have HBCUs, they have Ivy League schools. You see the difference, Black people? Ivy, meaning white. HBCU, meaning hood. Hood, B school. That's what they're going to say. But no problem here.
Asians and everybody else is starting to go to the HBCUs now. So it's like HBCU. So it's like, are those really our schools? We should be about the business of really building Black institutions that are for Black people or whatever the case is, but we won't do that. And we fight so hard to say, oh, I'm a Harvard graduate. Oh, I'm going to Princeton or Stanford. That's my alma mater. Like, so what? Y'all claiming something don't even want to claim you. And to me, it's crazy. It's like, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm cut from a different cloth. Some things just don't make sense to me. Like I told y'all last week when I went to the Galleria. Donovan, you've been to the Galleria, big giant mall. One end of the mall, they got this big high-end, all this high-end stuff. I mean, it just smells of money and uppityness, if you will. So we go into the Louis Vuitton store, following us around. Me and my nephews and my daughter following us around. And my nephew even called one of the people. I said, why are y'all following us? Well, do we look sketchy? What's going on? We already know, right? But as I was having a conversation with them, I said, what baffles me is Negroes, they'll spend their last dollar to go get a label to say, look at me, I got a label, look at me. It's like, them folks don't want you with that. And then you talking about you got this label, but you ain't talking about what you had to do to get the label, or how humiliated you were when you went in there and they followed you around. And you're like, oh, don't worry now, I got money, I'm going to buy me some. I'm like, for me, it'd be embarrassing to have some LVs on my clothes or the double G's and all of them, and I know they don't want me wearing it. I wish I would.
Wasn't there a skit in the movie Boomerang where they went into the store and the guy was following them and he was like, we have no returns. We don't have layaway here. You know what I mean? It was just an ongoing thing.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So it's like we as Black people fight so hard to be included in stuff people don't want us included in. Like, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to eat with you. I don't want to sleep with you. None of that. But our ancestors, God love them. Some of them are still here. We love you. But y'all fought to be with, I'm a human, I have rights. Why would you want to live next to them people? Why? I really want, like, maybe one day I'll talk to somebody who was, we shall overcome. May I have an opportunity to ask them, what was you smoking? What was you trying to overcome? You overcoming to go live with white people, but you ain't overcome the shackles on your mind to think that you need to get away from your own people. You overcame and helped dilapidate your whole community to be with the people. And when you got your black ass there, they was like, oh, time to go. White flight happened. But yet, we still fight to be with them. Even to this day, we want to fight to go to their schools and everything. I don't get it.
And it's funny that you say that, because in the city of Moreno Valley where I live, white flight happened as soon as there was the LA population started moving out this way, and it didn't happen overnight. As soon as gentrification started happening and that big mass stream started coming in, whatever. But what's crazy about us is this, and I will never understand this. You're going to pay $300 for a pair of shoes that only cost about $7 to manufacture in Asia. Right? But you're going to pay $300 to wear them on these grimy, nasty, disgusting streets and wear them out. And some of you guys got kids that bust out of those shoes every 3 months. You keep getting more and more and more, just so you can have a logo. Some of you guys are even wearing logos on your body, and you're not even getting paid for it, which is really, to me, crazy. But to each his own. You want this high-end car. And don't get me wrong, there's some cars that are better than others. And as a former mechanic, and I was an aircraft mechanic, but as somebody who knows a little bit about mechanics, I understand Mercedes is a very good car. German cars are built very, very good. How many of you guys even know the story of German cars? When they started importing German cars in the United States in the early 1960s, they didn't have an infrastructure for it. And the American guys go, well, where do you go when your car breaks down? What do you do? There's no technicians here. You don't have an infrastructure for this kind of car. The German guy said, our cars don't break down like that. They just don't. So I can understand a car like that. But why would you buy? See, this is how I understand our mentality. Why would you buy a car? And it's really sad now. The average car right now, Demetra, is about $35,000 to $40,000. That's like an average basic GMC, just a basic car. Isn't that crazy? We were coming up, you can get a nice car for what, 12,000, and that was like a high-end car.
Right, and with the interest, you're looking at maybe 18,000 out the door.
Something like that. So you're talking about $35,000, $40,000 car for an average car now. Okay, my point is this. German cars, if you're going to get a Mercedes, great. But if you're living in an apartment, why would you do that? Why, and I see people doing that, and because Demetra, and you drive your car off that lot, it loses value the minute it leaves that lot. The minute you own that car devalues. And you're going to take this car, put it into your apartment. A lot of apartments don't have enclosures and stuff, and if they did, you guys are using it to store your stuff in there, or whatever the deal is. The car's getting sun-baked and all this other stuff like that. And here's your investment going in that. And that's our mentality. Now, Demetra, I'm not trying to brag or anything. You know that if I wanted a Mercedes, I can get a Mercedes. I can get whatever I desire, right? But I don't do that for the simple fact that it's just a car. I'm running around today in a car that is over 20 years old till this very day. I keep it up. I just have the engine rebuilt, whatever the deal is. Because number one, I don't want to bill, whatever. And don't get me wrong, I'm not downing people who have to do what they got to do. But only in our community do I see people, and Demetra, you were in the military. Here you are, E5, and you got a Mercedes, but the base commander is coming in the gate in a hoopty because his BMW is sitting in the garage, for the weekend when him and his family are going out there. Why is it that we have to flash what we really don't got? That's one thing I will never understand.
Yeah, it's the status symbol is hell of a drug, right? And I mean, I understand liking the finer things, if you will. I get it, because we like nice things. Nice things tend to last, but when it comes down to having stuff just for the sake of because a lot of times when I'm not saying people don't get designer things for them, but a lot of times people get it for other people. I learned this a long time ago in the 80s, right? When Negroes really started hearing about Gucci like that. Y'all, you remember back in the day, We get these t-shirts that have big double G's on them, Gucci t, knowing doggone well you got it from the swap meet. Okay, you ain't walking to not a nan Gucci store and got the shirt. Everybody had, all these t-shirts that said Gucci on it. And somebody told me I couldn't have been no more than, I don't know, 13, 14. Say people with money and buy those things, they'll never walk around with that on. You will not know a label when you saw one. Wealthy people might wear, and people who are into clothes, they'll recognize a label without it being plastered all over the clothes, And they said that's what poor people do. Poor people go out and buy a status symbol, wear it so everybody else could see it. So when you walk into the room, everybody can see your Louis Vuitton bag. Oh, that's a nice bag. Oh, she might be really be doing some things. Same thing with a car. Seeing somebody driving with a car. I'm not saying they can afford it. They can't. But see a person driving with a nice car. Oh, what are they doing? This, that, and the other. But then sometimes you follow them home. It's like you went all the way up into the corridor. You live, on Grape Street. You know what I'm saying? You live in the jungle. No shade to nobody live over there. Near the Watts Tower. But you're driving that nice car. But so something says, because I used to, be in financial services. So when I would see stuff like that, I'm like, something's off here. Why are you driving a luxury car into an apartment or something like that, or even into a house you don't own? And I get it. Some people don't want to own a house, so that's neither here or there. The other thing that you said too about a luxury car, a lot of people don't understand this, and I'm not trying to shame nobody. This is why a lot of times you see people, and I want to say it's just us, but people driving a luxury car that's breaking down, that's got issues. Because to your point, a lot of luxury cars, at least they were back then, were built to last. But when people buy these cars, what they don't get is you can't take your Mercedes to Jiffy Lube because they won't do it. They're like, you got to take that to the Mercedes Benz dealer. Mercedes is like, oh yeah, we got you all day long. Of course, this oil change is going to cost you about $400. I'm telling you, because my mama had a Mercedes. She took very good care of me. And I remember sitting in the dealership with her when she was getting those expensive oil changes. And so it's the same thing like buying a house, right? Got people who buy a house. Ooh, I got this nice sprawling estate. The minute the air conditioner go out, well, I can't afford to pay for it. What you mean? You ain't got a warranty on it? Nothing. Well, I couldn't afford to keep the warranty. But it's like, all right, you need a new roof. That's going to cost you about $15,000, $20,000 when you got a warranty. Well, I couldn't afford. See what I'm saying? So economically, and I'm going to speak to us, we got to make it make sense. I'm like you, Donovan. My car is paid off, but guess what? I'm going to drive that mother till the last wheel fall off after I done taped it on 20 times. Because I enjoy not having a car payment, and I enjoy being able to save that money. I don't need no new car, because you know why? I'm like you. This car rolls, it's clean, it's nice. I ain't got to impress nobody else, so I roll up and say, oh, look at her car. But what you also don't know is I'm paying about $600, $700, $800 for this car payment too.
Well, and again, like I said, no shade to anybody, but it's our mentality of what we think is valuable and not valuable. When people look at me and they go, people say, well, you can't live like that or whatever. The thing is, you can live in America at whatever your thing is. You just got to live within your means. The problem is we're living beyond our means. And don't get me wrong. If you're a single mother out there and a single father and you want to get a house, right? Yes, your house note is $2,500, right? Let's just say California, $2,500. Basic. Well, that's basic now. $2,500. But see when you become a homeowner, and this is what we don't teach our children and our young adults, there's more to the home than the initial monthly payment. You got to have the property insurance. You got to have the property tax. Then it's the basic maintenance on the house. Like you said, the AC goes out. The roof needs new shingles, and the gutters coming this way, and all this other stuff, the landscaping, all that other stuff. And we never account for that. And that is why when you see that new person that just moved in the neighborhood, they've been there for like a year, everything was great for a year, then the next thing you know, their house is breaking down. Another good point. talking about stuff. When we were coming up, Demetra, there was no Lowe's and Home Depot. Why? Because houses were made to last. Yeah, you had a Ace, depot, little mom and pop maintenance shop. You go over there and do what you got to do. They build, the corporations and the manufacturers of these homes are in cahoots because they make the house to come apart. That's why you have manufactured parts, particle board, putting the damn thing together. Within 5 years, you spend over $800,000, which is the medium cost of a house in California, $800,000. It's going to fall apart within 5 years. So when we got people out here living single, and I'm not just saying women, men too, this is why we need each other, because I'm sorry, it's going to cost money. And plus, you're trying to raise your children that want to go to soccer and basketball practice and all these other things. And then you wonder why you ain't got any money and you're over there on the pole half the time, making ends meet and doing all that other stuff. We're not living within our means. We're not being smart with our dollars. And this goes back to our initial topic. Our economic dollars is our voice. It is what we're saying. People do not put out products because, hey, I'm just going to put out this product because I think it's just a great product. No, they put it out because they see what the consumer demand is. That's why they put that product out. Again, we just had movies just came out. Indiana Jones. Nobody wanted to see Indiana Jones movie. Flop.
I want to see it.
Well, yeah, there's some of us, but for as much money as they put into it, they're not going to make back the money that they were going to get. You know what I mean? So, and that's one of the number one problems in our community. By the time we realize what we are doing or what is being done to us, it's too late.
Yeah. And like you said, our money is our voice. Our vote actually is our voice, but we have been misappropriating every last one of them, right? Because I would imagine if I was a community that was making a lot of money off of another community, I would treat them nicely. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry that happened to you. Or you know what? They're our best, our one of our biggest customers. Because if you don't think that Black people are not the Asian community's biggest customers, ask yourself, why don't they set up in white neighborhoods? Or anybody else's neighborhood. I know they got stuff in their neighborhood, but why do they come to the Black neighborhood and set up? Like you said, Brother Phil said about the food that they give you this whopping servings of it. And like I'm from California, we have Asian restaurants and stuff, obviously, because it's a large population of Asians now there. But being in Houston, when I first got here, I'm like, because I didn't know, I said, what's a chicken and rice house? Because that's what they're called, chicken and rice houses. And Al was like, oh, they sell chicken and rice. And you just like some rice and then chicken. And I'm like, really? That y'all eating that? Because I'm like, we know how to throw some rice and chicken together. My mom used to be bomb at making rice and chicken. Of course, it had all the seasoning.
Wait. I got to bring this up since you brought up Mama and all them. Remember, Mama and them could not do anything without that ground gravy pack. You better have
that bouillon cube. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, y'all really eating? Y'all lining up to eat that? No, I'm not. And again, I'm not making any innuendos of what they're doing with it. But I'm just saying, all they got to do is get a building, start making rice and chicken, piling on the plate, and you Negroes line up for that. I'm like, for real? Like I don't get it. I just don't get it. But they make all of that money out for you think about everything Black people use. You think about the Asian community and what they supply. There's probably nothing that we don't get from the Asians, whether it's some food or it's nails or it's hair or it's clothes or it's something, right? And they still don't feel compelled to be nice. Because they know that I'm gonna start calling them crack dealers. You know why I'm gonna start calling them crack dealers? Not that they selling us crack, and I want to make that clear. I'm not saying the Asian community is selling us crack, but what they are selling is the equivalent of crack. We are addicted, right? Brother Tyrone Muhammad, he is one of the most modern examples of how addicted we are to what they have. The sisters, they was getting beat up or whatever in the Asian nail salons. He went up in there and threw a brick through their window, whatever the case is, and they was right back, like dope fiends. That's why I say it's like crack. I don't care. This brother went to jail and he did it. In fact, they cussed out the brothers.
Yeah, ready to fight him.
Yeah, ready to fight him. It's like, man, y'all high? Y'all know this brother went to jail for y'all. Y'all getting disrespected up in there. Y'all right back up in there. See, brother Tyrone, I love him. He better than me, okay? Because if I'm going to throw a brick, I'm going to make sure it hit one of the sisters. Oops. I'm just saying, especially because I know hindsight is 2020. My mom used to always say that if he would have known what he know now, then I sure would have made sure I hit at least. You know how you throw a rock over water and it skip? I'd have made sure
Right.
at least 2 or 3 of them up in there. Oops.
And you bring up a good point in regards to us being addicted to crack. The Asians are so, and like I said, I'm not mad at them. I'm just stating what is. Okay, so don't let this think, oh, they're talking bad about Asians. No, we're talking factual stuff here. Okay.
But wait, hold on, let me stop you there.
Good.
But why do we gotta preface that? I don't know that because we're not. We're speaking the truth. And I always say I don't blame the Asian community. I don't blame them. Shoot, if I was in a situation, hell yeah, I'm gonna go up in your neighborhood and suck up all the resources. I ain't even got to advertise, I ain't got to do that. So I'm never gonna be mad at them for being smart about getting their money.
Yep. Notice in Africa, whenever an Asian diplomat or an Asian citizen acts up over there, they're quick to get that Asian person up out of there because they want those African resources.
Right.
They don't want to be, excluded out and kicked out of there. They want those African resources. But think about this: $16 billion beauty market is controlled by the Korean culture in the United States. $16 billion that we, most like the Black women, support. The beauty infrastructure in the United States, 80% of that industry is controlled by the Asian market, mostly Korean. They do everything to keep Black people from getting a nice piece of that industry. They control the distributing. They control the supply. They control everything, and they don't want Black people to have one bit of it because it is so lucrative. So lucrative. So right there, that tells you right there that their lifeline. When you see these Asian kids going to Harvard, Princeton, and Yale and stuff, that is based on your economic dollars that is making them go do that. Period. I mean, that just shows you how addicted we are. We could support the industry, but we can't own the industry.
Right. And, I always tell you guys this too. I'm not to the point to where I don't go to Asian businesses altogether. Because I'm one of those people, I ain't gonna lie to kick it with y'all, but I do have a litmus test. I'll bring my daughter in here right now. Deanna, if she's still here. Deanna. Because I want y'all to see, I don't want, be making up stuff. Deanna. Maybe she left. Let me check her location.
She's like, I'm gone. I'm out.
No, I don't think because it's raining. Let's see.
I got things to do.
I want her to tell y'all. Now she here. Hold on a second.
She'll be in the shower. Who knows? But that's the biggest thing. I mean, an industry like that Black women should be controlling, or at least have a significant say so. We don't have a significant say. When a Black woman opens up a beauty shop, the Koreans do everything they can to shut it down. Everything they can.
Okay. I have not had this conversation with her. Okay. Deanna, what is my litmus test for shopping in an Asian establishment?
If they have Black
they can't hear you.
If they have Black employees.
And if they don't,
then
we leave it. So what she said is they need to have Black people working there, because let's keep it real. We don't have a lot of Black-owned businesses to get things. And I don't go to the, Asian stuff all the time. Let's say if I go, I didn't get this hair, as y'all know, it's crochets. They're not mine. I ordered this online the last time, but if I go,
well, I thought you were taking up the Sikh religion, but go ahead.
Right. If I go into a beauty supply, and there's Black beauty supplies here in Houston, so I do go there as well. But unfortunately, they don't always have what we need. But I do get something from there. But if I have to go to an Asian beauty supply, they better have some Black people working there, period. Because at least they got part of it right. We're making a killing off of y'all. At least we're going to hire some of y'all people in here so they could take some of y'all money back home with them. That's the only way that I'll do it. Like I said, I don't do it often. I don't, because I'm not one that's out there just being a giant consumer. But that's the way it has to be for me to shop there. And I think we should all, have that. Okay, if y'all gonna be in our neighborhood or we need something from y'all, I better have see somebody in there that look like me.
Right. But why is it that when there is a black business that we do have a black business, we hire white, Hispanic, everybody else. Yeah, you have, of course, it's our business. So there's a few blacks in there, but we do our due diligence in making sure it's a diversity workforce. So why is it that we do it, but when you go to in most cases, you go to Asian stores, family business, no, we no hire, family business, no hire. You go to Hispanics, family business, we no hire, whatever.
Group economics. That's what you're supposed to do. But with us, because I've gone to black businesses and I'm like there was this one everybody was ranting and raving about in California. It was a black-owned grocery store. And everybody's like, woo, got a black-owned grocery store. So me and my mama, we went. We was all excited. Drove a little ways to go there. But I'm excited about going to a black-owned grocery store. I went up in there, and as we're going in there, all the cart people, get the carts. They was Hispanic or white. And so I'm like, okay, is this black-owned store? We go in there. Hispanic and white people working there. I saw one black person working in there. So I asked that black guy, I said, is this a black-owned store? And he laughed and he was like, yeah, the owners are black. And he says, but I know why you asked that. I said, yeah, they ain't got a lot of black people working here. And so then the premise is, well, we don't want to deter all the other communities, but then they don't have a problem deterring your black ass. When you walk up in there and like you said, hey, can I get a job? Oh, no, we're not hiring. But because they don't hire anybody that don't look like them. That is group economics. As Dr. Claude Anderson said, sell to everybody and buy from yourself. Sell to everybody, hire your people. You don't have to feel compelled to hire other people because they may or may not come here. But see, that's where we as black people need to get good at, spending money with each other. But see, it's probably going to be harder and harder to do in California because y'all are less than 6% of the population there. And so if you were to come to the South, you could do that because there's a lot of black businesses. And that's one thing I like about being in Houston is if I want to go buy black, it's not hard to do. Whether it's to go to a vegan restaurant, a black owned, or one that ain't vegan, or whatever, right? There's black experiences you could do. So I like that part of it. I really do. But it's going to be harder where you're not where a concentration of black people are. Where as the South, that's where the most black people live now is back in the South. So.
All right. So, real quick as we transition back into the thing. So in your opinion, Demetra, you're an educated woman, whatever. What is your opinion about the affirmative action case and its effect on the black community? Does that affect us at all or doesn't it?
Well, as we know, statistically speaking, I mean, there's some people, see, but this is the problem that I have with a lot of those us out there that's, y'all talking about an individual basis. Has it helped black people as a collective? I would have to say no. And then, of course, we're talking about the Boule class of, uppity Negroes. Oh, I went to Harvard and, I wouldn't have been able to get in without it. But it's like you went to Harvard, but did it help your community? You went to Harvard and you didn't utilize the talented 10th theory where you come back with that knowledge you got from the white man and then you come and apply it to the black community. But as Carter G. Woodson said in The Miseducation of the Negro, y'all go up to these Ivy League schools and you learn of the white man and how to be white, but then that don't apply to you because when you bring it back home, your people is like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. And then you go try to be white in the white man's world. They're like, nah, you got our education, thanks for the money, honey. But we don't really want nothing to do with you, which is where the other part of affirmative action comes in. Now we got to fill these quotas by law, right? Or we get these governmental kickbacks or whatever. We hire a negress or a Negro up in here. And so has it helped us collectively? I want those people to say, no, it hasn't, because if you ever want to know an answer to something, look at the end result. The end result in our community is we are worse off economically and in every way, shape, or form than we were before the civil rights movement. So affirmative action has been around for a long time, and we are in a worse position. How can we argue that affirmative action actually helped us as Black people? We now know that it's helped white women who are, as I said, and I don't care how y'all can fight me, The white woman is the most protected, most respected, most revered living organism on the planet. And yet she gets more of a leg up after she duped the black woman during the feminist movement in the 60s and 70s. Leave our men ain't nothing. But yet, as I always say, she went home after she was marching and burning the bra and made Brad a casserole. It was nasty, but she still made him a casserole, and she took care of the children, and then she packed his lunch the next day and sent him off, and she says, okay, girls, I'm back at it. And then the black woman believed that the white woman was locking arms with her to help her solve the problem. See, and I don't really like to quote Shahrazad Ali much because I don't like her attitude about the minister. But as she said, the black woman and the white woman weren't having the same issues with their men. The black man already had his issues, and she also said black women should not have been judging her man like the white man judges her man, okay? But we did that thinking we were equal. That white woman is still with her man in large, maybe not as much as she was back then, but those numbers are still pretty high. The black woman that ain't with her man no more. Now, listen, I'm not saying it's all the feminist wave. It's got a lot of other stuff. But the point that I'm making is we got to stop thinking that being like them is going to make us better. They're not. It's just not. We can wait 100 more years and we'll never. And can I ask y'all a question? As dope as black people are, why y'all want to be like them? Why y'all want to be around them? If y'all can answer that, then I don't know.
Well, it's just like Uncle Ruckus says, because they smell like a
something fresh breeze or something.
Yeah, a fresh breeze coming out of the laundromat or something, out of the dryer, whatever the deal is. But no, I'm just going to say this in regards to affirmative action. I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, right? And the funny thing is, when I talk to other pilots and white guys that didn't go to Embry-Riddle, do you know what the first thing that they think of how I got into Embry-Riddle? Was affirmative action. Was affirmative action. They think you went to Embry-Riddle because, when you say Embry-Riddle, it's like, whoa, that's the top. That's like saying Harvard, right? You went to Embry-Riddle. Oh, you must have got in on the program. No, I didn't get in the program. Through the military, whatever. That's how I got in through the military. So, which is, I guess you can say, a form of a program, but it is what it is, Air Force. But yeah, so personally, I think in regards to by taking the affirmative action, it takes that weapon or that excuse that the white man and the Asian man and the Hispanic man can say, against us. Because if you get into these institutions on your own merit and stuff like that, I'm not saying, we don't need it. We do need affirmative action in cases. But I've heard time and time again when people find out that I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, that I was probably there on a diversity hire, entrance thing, which was not the case. And what they do is when they say that, it like lowers your degree or your acceptance. They make it seem like you didn't have to still test in there and work hard to get the degree. It's like, well, you went to Embry-Riddle, but you're still the black guy that got in because Embry-Riddle is a private, like Harvard private school. Is what it is. So, for me, we do need affirmative action, but this is another thing that we could also use. Let's flip it. Instead of being all negative about it, we need it. Yes, we need it in some cases, but we could also take that as a positive and say, you know what, you're not going to be able to use that I'm not qualified. Because in a lot of job positions, they use that to denigrate black people in the positions that they're in, like they didn't earn it or they didn't work hard to get that position. So.
And the other thing is you ain't going to be able to get them jobs. When that portion of affirmative action gets struck down, you ain't going to be able to get them jobs. Because now they can say, I don't got to hire your black ass. I don't have to, you know what I mean? Because they don't want you there. So again, it just goes back to the question, wouldn't it just behoove black people to start our own stuff? Because everybody else trying to be like us. Let's keep it a buck. Nobody else on this planet got to drop a swag if they don't steal it from black people. We are the culture. We set the tone, whether it's fashion, it's hair, whatever it is, whether it's creating things. We've invented every goddamn thing on this planet. So they can't be what they are. And I don't care, even the Asians. I see them get permanent hair real tight so they can cut it and make it look like they look like, Rashid and them and all that other stuff. It's like if y'all the bomb, and to y'all probably are, but if you are y'all that, why y'all trying to look like black people? See, one thing I would say this about my dad, y'all know he's NOI, has been since he's 19. My dad taught my sister and I the value of being beautiful black women. Like, I don't have no makeup other than eye stuff on my face. This is me, right? Now, when I think of that, I'm like, a white woman couldn't get up here and look this good. Now, I ain't letting it go to my head, but the point that I'm making is, white woman couldn't, her skin wouldn't be like this. She got to put on blush and then all the other stuff to give her a little pop of color, right? Otherwise, she look like a wet dish rag. And the same is true with a whole lot of them. Like, when I think about the black woman, and not all of us, but some of us, the stuff we doing to ourselves, you run around here looking like Oompa Loompas, getting these big giant booties, and then you see the Asian woman, the Mexican woman, the white woman, she going out there looking like a whole grimace, looking ridiculous, trying to get her booty big. Who you think she emulating? She emulating you. So I think we need to concede that they can't be who they are without stealing from us, but we always running from what they stealing from, and that's us. We need to, as they say in the nation, accept your own and be yourself, and then everything else will fall in line. So we as black people need to start falling in love with us again. I don't never, ever, and I have never, ever wanted nothing a white woman wants. I never want to be like no white woman. I never want to be with her white man. I ain't want to eat, as Donovan said, her seasonless food. Never. I never have. Listen, I know white people. I'm not speaking ill on white people. I'm just telling you, and this is something I can say to my white associates, if you will. They know how I feel. I don't want nothing you got. And that goes for Lupita, Mean, or anybody else. I want what we got, because I know this world stops cold on its axles or whatever it is if we ain't in it. That's why, especially here in the United States of America or anywhere else, they don't like us, but they know when we leave, all the ingenuity leaves, all the creativity leaves, all the swag, everything leaves when we leave. Get that in your head.
See, and that's the thing we keep forgetting. The sad thing is we don't read to our children as much as we should be. What they saying that the average young black man reads at a fourth to sixth grade education level. And that knowledge is there. We used to do that back in our day. When you were coming up, your mom read to you and made sure, if she didn't read to you, she made sure you read to her. You know what I mean? I had to read to my mom what I was reading or whatever the deal is. So, as parents now, we see the younger generation, we see that, and don't get me wrong, this is not an admonishment of your parenting skills. If you're a young person and it's kind of hitting you right now, what I'm saying, it's not an admonishment. We get it. Life is a bitch right now. You got to get out there and get it. You're probably doing it on your own and doing all that. But regardless of all of that, that is not an excuse not to teach your heritage, not to teach your history, not to teach. Because if you don't know where you've been, you definitely won't know where you're going. And you got children. So if you're not telling them the stories of the Kunta Kintes or the things that you know that was taught to you, how can they be great if all they ever see is other cultures being great? Why aren't we talking about Kemet and all these great kingdoms that we possibly have come from, whatever, you know what I mean? And that's an important thing that I see missing when I see young kids. And yeah, today they're celebrating 4th of July. 4th of July, they're having the barbecue. The kids are out there at the park having a great time, and that's great. But is that their history, or are you teaching them something else?
And the other thing is, if you had knowledge of self and, like you said, taught your children history, they wouldn't want to celebrate 4th of July. Like, to me, it's another day. I went to the store and I saw people, getting their hot dogs and the buns and all the stuff. And I'm like, look at God. It's thunder and lightning here. You know what I'm saying? And the good old South, where they trying to celebrate the 4th of July and all of that, and the thunder and lightning. But, oh, well, that ain't my business. But yeah, if you taught your children real knowledge of self, they be like, "Mommy and Daddy, why are we celebrating the 4th of July? Our people weren't free. Hell, we still ain't free because we run around here dressed up in red, white, and blue, talking about ooh, it's Independence Day. Independence for who? As Black people in America, ask yourself, are you truly free? Are you free to roam about the country without worrying about the po stopping you and ending your life? Hell, are you free to roam about the country anywhere? And God forbid you go to a sundown town and somebody do something to you. Are you really still free if you need affirmative action to tell you you can get into this white school? I'm baffled. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Why y'all want to go to school with a whole bunch of them? Okay, but are you still free if you have to have a law that says that this job needs to fill a quota, and that's why you're there? Are you free? Are you free when the very party that you vote for predominantly stands up and tells you, I'll be damned if I'm held responsible for something my ancestors did, and tell you in your face, I'm not giving you reparations, Negro. But guess what? You're going to line up and vote for me in 2024 after I told you, and we're all watching this come to, manifest. After I told your so-called leadership, the misleadership, y'all gonna have to get in line with the Mexicans or the Hispanics, because they're running things now. Whatever he said, y'all gonna have to work together. And now they're not even trying to work with us; they're working over us. So ask yourself, Black people here in America, why are you lighting a firecracker tonight? Why are you roasting a hot dog? Why are you doing it just because it's a day off? Because I get that. It's a day off. We're getting together. Let's cook. We're going to put on Frankie Beverly and Mays and all of that. But are you doing it because you are under the false illusion that you are free? Think about it.
Yeah, and then Independence Day, wasn't that the Independence Day when a small cabal of men decided, instead of having to give all these resources back to England, we could just keep it for ourselves and make money and legalize slavery for these group of people, but not us, and keep women suppressed and all this other stuff. That's the history that you got to know about. What are you celebrating? I mean, to me, it's like, yeah, I'm a military person. I know people saying that's kind of hypocritical. No, it isn't. I didn't join the military to protect your rights. I joined the military to protect my rights. When I went to go fight, I fought for me. I didn't really fight for, you. I fought for me and what I was going to do. So I know you people are going to go, that's kind of hypocritical. No, the bottom line is that's the history of this country. This country wasn't built on liberty and independence and respecting men and all that equality stuff. It's right there in the Declaration of Independence, what it stands for. What it stands for. They looked at us as not even human beings. And then because the South was lagging in population, they decided to make us 3/4 of a man for the vote count. And since we're talking about the vote count, you got a man that's been in office for 3 years that could have wiped away your student debt unilaterally. There is nothing that says he can't do it. But he sent it to the Supreme Court and the Congress, knowing that it was going to be held up for a couple of years. So then the Supreme Court makes a thing and outlaws it. He can still, right now, technically, an executive order, wipe away the debt. And we universally vote for a man that was a Dixiecrat. And we expect this man to solve all of our problems. But like you said, Demetra, it has now come into the face of everything. Because remember, when this man got elected, he just got in there. Give him time. Give him time. In the 3 years that Joe Biden has been in office, what has he done for Black people in 3 years? Okay, 3 years is enough time to say, okay, now us. You gave the Asians, you gave the LGBTQ, you gave the Hispanics, you opened the damn borders, so on, so forth. This administration, I don't care if it's Democratic or Republican, has shown you they are very hostile to dark-skinned Black people. The Haitians come over here under a assassinated president, violence, and all the other stuff that these other groups are walking across the border in. He's got planes.
They said that the United States has something to do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. We all the time something like that happens, but he has and sends them back unilaterally. No questions asked, flies them back. But these other groups come on in, and we constantly support a administration. Demetra and I say it all the time. It's good cop, bad cop. When you get in trouble and they're interrogating you, you always got that cop that's going to come and say, "Hey, how you doing? You need some water? You is there anything, you need, whatever? Hey, yeah, he's a little grouchy today. His wife and him got a little problem with it. Hey, and then the bad cop comes in, give us the stuff, we're going to beat you up. Hey, go get my beer and give me the telephone book. Those of us that know what the telephone book means, I mean, they're going to beat you and they don't want to leave any markings, right? Right. But you have the good cop that comes in there, right? And for some reason, we always think, oh, well, the good cop, he's working with me. Hey, I think you need to do this. We're going to work with you if you just give us a little something. Isn't it funny when the good cop tells you that, they still give you life in prison at the end of the court date? But he was supposed to help you, right? You guys got to understand, Republican, Democrat, good cop, bad cop, they have one agenda: white supremacy. We got to start relying on ourselves at this point. If you guys can't see that at this point, you're just going to have to be left behind.
Yeah, and that's where we're at. I think that's the conversation we're at now. And I don't want to come off as an elitist, like, oh, a sector of blacks are better than you guys. I'm not coming off like that. But I'm saying for those of us who want to truly be progressive and move our race forward, we're going to have to leave behind the people who are not interested. I mean, that's, to me, it's like being in a relationship with somebody who has showed you time and time again, I'm not interested. You call them, they don't answer the phone. You text them, they don't text you back. Or when you do get a chance to talk to them, hey, how you doing? I'm all right. Oh, yeah, I'll just call to see you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's like they not interested. Why you keep calling them back? They hang up on that fool. Don't call them ever no more.
Or basically, you're just in that abusive relationship that we have with the Democratic Party. We give all of our votes to this one particular party, and we get nothing in return. Now, as a woman, if you were involved with a man, you're giving him sex, you're cooking him, you're raising his children, you're doing all this stuff, you're buying him gifts on his birthday, all this other stuff. And then when it's your turn to get a little something, he won't even give you a thank you. How long would you be in that relationship?
Hindsight is 20/20. At the age I'm at now, not long. How long? Not long. And because we got a couple more minutes, I know your shindig gonna start for a minute. I ain't got nothing to do. I'm gonna work actually. I'm just at the age in my life, I'm not putting up with a whole lot of stuff. Now, some people will say, oh, Demetra, you're being too tough. You're being too hard. And then I would ask, since when did having a decent set of standards become being too hard? As I tell my daughter, and I try to tell some of these little young women that won't listen, but for the ones that will, don't you ever, and when I say ever, be afraid to run a man off by telling him you have standards. I ain't talking about nothing unrealistic, like, oh, you need to have 6 figures and, all this other stuff that's unrealistic for me to be with you. But if you say, oh, no, sir, you're not treating me like no trampoline. What's your intentions for me? Are we getting married? What? And he said, oh, it was too soon to have that conversation, but it ain't too soon for you to want to get up in my thing.
Because you don't buy no shoes without trying them on first.
Well, guess what? Take your black ass to pay less, okay?
No, you're supposed to do the Florida Evans answer. Ladies, when a guy says that, the Florida Evans answer is, nobody buys you shoes.
You know what I'm saying? Okay? Unless you go into the Goodwill, and baby, I am no way, shape, or form a Goodwill, okay? So as I say to the ladies, and I really, reinforce this to my daughter. Not that she is afraid, but if you feel like a man, if you tell a man you got standards, you tell him no or whatever, he gonna run off, good. You want to run him off. Sucker, run as fast and as far as you can away from me, right? Because don't ever feel like I gotta acquiesce to the demands of a man who ain't even told you finna be his woman. Like, to me, and that's the other part of it too, men, I'm not saying all men, there's some men, though, there's enough out there wholeheartedly expect for a woman to allow you to bounce up and down on her, then you zip your pants up at the altar and had a good 2 minutes talking about where I'm gonna head out. And she says, oh, well, what about us? What you mean, what about us? I thought ain't you my man now? Did I say I was your man? Well, no. Well, you the sucker. You know what I mean? Because I'm just saying, even if you go, see, this is, and I'm speaking to the ladies, okay? And I'm not saying nothing about the men. You got to consider yourself a Rolls Royce, right? Now, unless you some well-known celebrity. Now, I ain't never test drove no Rolls Royce, but I'd imagine I couldn't go in there and say, "Hey, I'm Demetra Kaye. I'm coming to test drive that big body Rolls Royce over there." They're gonna say, "That's wonderful," but I'm gonna need you to leave something behind. I'm talking about the more so than you do if you go drive a Toyota, right? They're like, "Okay, let me see your ID." Like they could probably take you through some things before you just run off in one day. They Bentleys or whatever. So the point that I'm making is you gotta have the same standards. Oh, that's nice. You want to take me out? Okay. Why are we going out? Well, I want to get to know you. Why do you want to get to know me? Did you have plans? You looking for a wife, or are you looking for a good? Because see, that's what I'm saying. I'm at that age. Why do you? And y'all know I'm one of the sweetest people you ever know. So I don't mean to come off as Donovan. I don't mean to come off as mean, but I want to know these things. Why are we going out? Do you have marriage on your mind? Or are you looking for a good time? Because I'm not your plaything. As my daddy always used to tell me and my sister, you are to be the main thing and not the plaything. So do you want me to be your main thing? You want me to be your plaything? Because I can.
So that's why your sister won't get with me. Because I want to play.
You want right. Tricks is for kids. Okay. So I'm saying, ladies, and again, this is no indictment on the men. Y'all know I love y'all a lot, okay? I'm saying you gotta have standards. And I'm gonna tell you right like this. I've heard from a lot of older men. I'll tell you, my pastor who has passed on, right? He passed away years ago. And I remember him, he was doing a eulogy at a funeral. And it was a funeral of a lady who was an upstanding, she had standards, right? And he said, we knew her since she was a child. He said the other girls in the neighborhood, yeah, we knew we can play with them and have fun with them and, whatever. Now he's an older man as a pastor now, but he was telling when he was a kid. They wouldn't tell us no or whatever. He says, but this one here, we knew we couldn't do anything we wanted to do with her. And he said, you know what? We wanted her more because she said, you can't play with me. I'm about my business. I'm going to school. I ain't got time to stop and be with no fool. You go over there and you be with all the loosey-gooseys that want y'all to be here, but you can't do that with me. And he said, we all wanted her because she had standards. So I'm saying this as not an indictment on the men. I'm saying I know that even the man that's getting his little thing-a-lang around town, even he ain't taking the neighborhood trollop home to his mama. He want to take the young lady who had standards home to his mama because he know his mama being a woman gonna know she don't smell too fresh. This woman, she probably been all around. But when you bring somebody home that's, how you doing, Mrs. Such and Such? Oh, yes, I got this and that. I'm blah, blah, blah. Oh, yes, no, I have not been with, whatever. Because your mama gonna know.
Well, mama always knows about, like, I remember I brought this one girl. My mom was like, her? I was shocked. That hoe? Whatever is going on. You know the girls that are out there. But let me talk to the men here, because that's a good analogy that you gave about the women. Isn't it amazing, fellas, that we like to have a good time with other people's women? But when it comes to our sister, our mother, our aunt, our girl cousin, we want them to be treated in a respectful type manner. So if you have that standard for the women in your family, why don't you have a standard like that for all women in general?
And can I answer that? Because I hear y'all say that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it's up to that woman to say, well, you might be running through her, and her, but the buck stops here. And I always say this as a woman, I don't want no man who done had his thing all over town either. It's just as disgusting to me to know that I could be potentially with community penis. I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Or at least I don't want to know that you were that if you were formed and all that other stuff. But men, won't stop because women won't stop them. We know, especially in our community, there's a shortage. And so we feel like, okay, it's competition time. She told you no. Well, I'm going to tell you yes. Oh, she only let you use 2 holes. Guess what? I'm going to give you 3, you know? so women have to say, you look good. You smell good. You're talking a good game. But what's your intentions with me? Are you in the market for somebody to play with temporarily? Because you know there's a lot of women out there that let you do it. Or are you looking to build a life? Are you looking for a main thing? Because if you're looking for somebody you're going somewhere with, and I ain't talking about these 15-year-long engagements and well, this ain't ready. I'm talking about within the next year, we looking at going to somebody's church or some city hall or something, right? If he ain't talking like that, then tell him, get off my line, stop wasting my time, and let me save my dimes to call somebody else. It's really just that simple.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I want to say this to the ladies. If you're in a situation and you are pregnant, you need to be going to the church or to the city hall right then and there as soon as possible. Because all this stuff about you ain't got time, it ain't the right time. When you get, it's the right time. It's the right time. You're having children. It's the right time. This ain't playing house. You are now an adult. It's called adulting. You hold that man accountable to what he is going to do.
But see, this is where I got to spank the ladies a little bit.
Okay.
You know how you hold him accountable? By not getting in that situation in the first place. If you want to get in me, you're going to have to take me to the church. We got to go do some nuptials like that, right? That's how you hold him accountable. But if he is getting the milk, and he ain't going to buy the cow. Like, since you want to liken me to a cow, you're going to have to buy the cow first. Then you get the milk and everything else that comes. You get the steaks. You get all that, but that's how you hold them accountable. But you get that way.
Yeah, but I got a question for you. And it just doesn't, I don't understand what is going through these young people's minds, male and female. You've been with this man for 8 years. You got 2 children together. You're living in the apartment together. You're basically living as if you are married and a married unit. What is so scary about a contract? Because marriage has nothing to do with love. It's a contract. It's a business. About getting a contract, especially for you ladies, and securing your children's future and legacy from their father. What's so scary about that?
I don't think it's, it may be scary, but I just think a lot of times men and women just settle. If you with a woman that says, I don't want to marry you, I just want to kind of be here, and
move on. A woman tells me that, I'm done. I'm out.
Period. I'm out. Then you go fool and hop around with every time Dick and Harry. I can't be a part of that equation. Listen, I'm at the point, and if I was a man, I would say that to her. I'm at the point in my life to where I want to build with somebody. I want to build a legacy for our children, our grandchildren. I can't do that with you sassafras and you running all over town, or whatever the case is. And I'm a hot girl. You're 45 years old. It's got to be lukewarm now. You know what I'm saying? So that's up to the man to say, I'm not you. You can't waste my time either. Listen, I need to get on with life, and you ain't it.
Well, let me ask you this too, as a woman, since we got time. Let me ask you this. Is this something that I just want to put out there? Women today are the most sexually liberated, the most independent, the most educated, so on. I mean, we could go on all the tropes, right? Why are they so miserable in regards to having all of this compared to their ancestors and parents, grandparents, and so on, so on, and so forth? Why? Why are they so? Mike, on your thing.
Oh, sorry, I had it covered. Sorry about that. When I hear the term sexually liberated, I think of filth, because that's who I see talking about I'm sexually liberated is women flashing their breasts and talking about they snatch and
Pound Town.
Yeah, when I hear that, that's right. That's what I think about. Like, but I'm thinking sexually liberated like you're being sexually liberated to people who don't give a damn, to total strangers. I don't care if you're sexually liberated. If you're interested in being sexually liberated, do that with your man, your husband. Instead of giving him the mummy edition, maybe try something else. To me, that's what I think of sexually liberated. But to me, when I hear these women, I'm sexually liberated. So you think it's cool to show your behind and everything else in between to people who don't care, including children? That's not sexually liberated. That's sexually deviant. There's a difference. And I would imagine they're unhappy because that's a lot. I would imagine it's stressful. Be out there half naked, and then you're probably getting a lot of backlash, and nobody really cares. You like
unwanted attention.
Yeah, like my grandmother told my auntie years and years ago, when she was a young woman, and she was dressing scantily clad, if you will. She says if you use meat to catch a man, you're gonna wind up with a dog. So they're unhappy because being sexually liberated with everything hanging out, it did what it was supposed to do. It caught, something. But any man worth his weight, he ain't dragging that thing home to his family. Hey, how many? It's 4th of July right now. There's plenty of Negro that's getting together. And there's plenty of men who are taking their girlfriend home, potentially for the first time to meet their family. I would imagine the numbers of the men that are taking the woman that was running around, that he was running around with a week ago with all her booty hanging out, I guarantee you she ain't the one that's going home. The one that's going home with him is the one that got some sense. So you're out there sexually liberating yourself. You're freeing your boobs and all this other stuff, but you're not securing the man. As they say, you're not securing the bag. The bait that you put out there in the water, even the fish don't want it. They gonna bite it and they gonna... It's nasty. I don't want it.
And last question. I need your critique. The song Pound Town. Okay. I haven't heard the song. Okay. I heard about the song. As a woman, as an older woman,
not too old, damn it.
28 is old, that's considered mature. 28 is considered mature woman. Okay. I'm gonna give you that. What is your critique on music by ladies, so-called young ladies, that is being put out like this now? I mean, it's gone from Megan Thee Stallion, Little Kim, we can move up. Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B. Now it's gotten to the City Girls. Now it's gotten to this. Give us your critique on that song. Have you heard the song, and what's your critique?
Yes, I heard the song, and I want to first of all say a lady would never. So I would never put the word lady in the same sentence with them. Those are, as I said, strumpets and trollops. That's what they are. A lady would know better. A lady would say, I don't care how much money you offering me, big time record company, I would not get out there and get on the stroll for you. There's certain things ladies do not do, and they do not compromise their reputation, their value, right? And they also do not unduly corrupt other people. When I say other people, that song I would imagine is on TikTok. And a lot of us, and just people in general, but I say us, we don't have the sense God gave a cricket. You got the child on TikTok, and if I don't go on there much, I post, and if you scroll, you really don't have control of what comes up. So I'd imagine if your child has a TikTok and they scrolling, I'd imagine Pound Town and came up once or twice. So that I don't think a lady would ever do that, but these things that they producing now, they would and not have a problem with it. They just, and like I said, they mamas and they grandmamas and they great grandmamas probably trollops too.
Right. Now, usually a song has a connotation, or it means something, at least it used to. I never heard the song, but it's called Pound Town. So I'm just going to take a wild guess. This is about pounding to town a woman in her openings.
Yes.
Now, what I don't understand, if I'm correct, and you said that's what it is, what woman would openly sing and celebrate a song like that and expect to be treated in a way that is respectable?
A delusional one, because and then within those same songs, it says they talk about pound town. You can, pound everything you want on me that ain't already been pounded to death. Look like a sack of ground beef when it done getting pounded. But they also fully expect for a man to take care of them. I want to get the bag. And I'm thinking, what man that's worth something, and I'm talking financially, because if I'm figuring if you worth something financially, you probably worked hard to get it. I don't know. But what man would want a woman like that? You run around, your mouth is loose, your thing is loose, you dress loosely, your mind is loose. What man wants a woman like that? And so it's like, but it's that whole, it's all by design. Teach these young girls, run around butt naked, have the filthiest thing coming out of their mind and their head, and then also tell them, you ain't making six figures. I don't want you. When we know that most black men ain't making those six figures, they not. The average black man is in the 40,000 somewhere neighborhood a year. So that's also teaching these young girls, well, a man that's making $40,000 a year, he ain't no good. I need the man that's making six figures, seven figures, eight. I even heard an 8-figure N-word is what I need, right? So if he ain't making that, then I can't deal with it. But it's like, well, what are you doing? Because even the men that are making that kind of money, they're with ladies. They ain't with, the loosest woman on the planet. They ain't with her. If they are, she ain't living in that mansion. She going to the Snooty Fox, where they pay by the hour. You got to bring your own motel sheets. But she ain't up in the mansion walking around talking about, yes, honey. Oh, yes, we're going to have a soiree at 8 o'clock. Your tuxedos. That ain't the lifestyle you live in. He going to break you off a couple of dollars. He ain't going to buy yourself a new swap meet wig or whatever the case is. But you ain't securing no 8-figure man acting like that. And if you are, you a secret. You a secret. I mean, look at Young Miami and P. Diddy. Now, I don't know. This is just my opinion. I have no inside knowledge. I think P. Diddy is batting for the same team. So I think that P. Diddy keeps all those women around him, as they call in that community, as beards. They hanging on, they hiding who he really is. That's what I think, right? But even still, he ain't got no respect for her. She got her own little money or whatever. He ain't got no respect for her. He done went had baby on her. Got all these women here and there. And she ain't even secured no, I don't know. I guess he's 10, 11 figures. She ain't secured him. And the woman he did cry over, Kim, the twins' mama, she died.
Well, yeah, he cried over her, but he really wanted J-Lo.
Right, but J-Lo was smart. She's like, oh, no, you like to shoot up the club and all that. I'm out of here. And that was a smart decision for her. I'm not mad at her for saying, and they said, he was considered like the love of her life type of thing, but somebody got next to her. And one thing about J-Lo is she was able to listen. That man is going to ruin your career. You are on that getting to be somebody. You can't hang around him. And that's what happened. So we're going to get out of here, y'all. We will not
Happy 4th of July.
Yeah, to those of y'all who celebrate, after I upload this video, I got some other things I need to be doing, because I'm always working. As I told my daughter the other day, always be cashing in. ABC, So I'm always doing something. But nevertheless, we love and appreciate you guys. Do enjoy the rest of your holiday. We'll be back with the Walter Wealth Wednesdays with the Walter. And we will be live. We'll be sharing the link and all of that. Donovan, thank you for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day as well. We have a way to donate to the channel if you guys would love to do so. We love and appreciate you. For those of you guys who are members, and like, subscribe, and comment, everything that you do helps the channel. So we love and appreciate you for that. In the meantime, we'll see you guys later. Peace.